Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Good morning, everybody here in Avos Shalom, everybody on Zoom, and everybody on Torah Anytime, and our YouTube channel. You're all welcome to yet another Shiur of the amazing Gemara Kiddushin. We are today in Yutes Amud Beis, but we are still in Yutes Amud Aleph. In other words, the official Amud today is Yutes Amud Beis. We are still in Yutes Amud Aleph towards the end of the narrow lines. My Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. What is Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda talking about? And basically, the Shiur's L'Nishmas of Imar Menachem Ben Akiva. It's for the Atzlach of Klal Yisrael in this difficult time, the Atzlach of all the Chayalim, especially Ziv Shmuel ben Orli Efrat. It's a soldier. I don't know who is, but he's a soldier. I am partnered with him. And so, what am I saying now? We're learning now about avodim, about slaves. And we learned about a father who may sell his daughter as an amma. So you asked me a question, Rabbi, and I'm telling you now. The Rambam says a father is only allowed to sell his daughter when he is really, really, shall I say again, really poor. In other words, if he really sold everything he has in the house and he has absolutely no other way of making money, he's dirt poor. He reached the stage of, there's nothing to eat at home. At that happy moment, then and only then he can sell his daughter. That's first. So we see that's absolutely not the best option. So that's what you do when you have nothing to eat. The person may sell his daughter. And then the Rambam adds right away that, like we learned before, we press the father as soon as he can, as soon as he gets some money, as soon as he somehow gets his hand over some money, then he's supposed to redeem her from the master. Right? So either redeems her from the master ASAP because of Gam Mishpocha, because the family have the right not to have a girl or a cousin, a daughter, or whatever who's a slave. That's not nice. It's not a good situation to have. And also, or actually alternatively, as you were saying, and as we're learning now, if he does not redeem her, he hopes that the Adoin or his son will marry her. And that works with Yud. And Yud Ein Vav Daled, is the sugya we're learning now. Yud means the next best thing that can happen to the girl, if not redeeming and going back to freedom, hopefully not back to poverty. So then the other option is the father actually, the Adon is miyad her. How does Yud work? So there are two ways of how we view Yud. I'm actually not going to summarize it now. We'll just go straight to the Gemara, and everything will be explained as we go along. Be'ezras Hashem, Yishtabach Shmo La'ad. My Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. We mentioned the opinion of Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, who argues with Chachomim regarding how Yud functions. The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, Ye'ado vehefdo. Ye'ado vehefdo, the word Yud and the word Pidyon they are mentioned one next to the other. What does that mean? What's lifdot? Lifdot means to redeem. How do you redeem a girl? Or any Eved Ivri? How do you do that? Taking off the money, deducting the money, right? So now the Yud has to do with deducting the money. Yud, which is the marriage of the girl, is connected to deducting money from her. Says Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, Tzorich sheyesh shehus bayoim kedei pidya, which means, let's say the Odoin that acquired the girl, right, for let's say 6 years or until puberty or whatever that is, he acquired her, and he always knows any given moment, we're going to see in Amud Beis, he can do the Yud. He can turn the slavery into marriage, right? Okay. Now, says Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, you can't do it too late if you are at the end of the 6th year, and I mean the really at the very end of the 6th year, and then if you were miyad her at a time of day where her work is worth less than a pruta, which means, let's say every hour of that girl working is worth 1 pruta, okay? So if you have an entire hour ahead of you before the end of the 6th year, you have an entire hour worth pruta, okay? If you're Mekadesh her after the beginning of the hour, you only have 55 minutes left, let's say, which are worth less than pruta, then you can't be miyad her anymore. That's it, too late. Yeah? According to Chachomim, you can be miyad her up until the very last second before the end of the 6 years. According to Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, you can only be miyad her as long as ahead of you, you still have an hour, let's say, or whatever that is, worth of pruta. Why is that? What does one have to? What are we talking about now? Why is that you have to have an hour worth of pruta? Yeah, and only then you can be married to her. What does it mean? As we said before, and as we're going to see now again, from here, Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda is deriving that if there's enough time in the day to actually make shove pruta with for the odoin, every, let's say in my example, hour of her washing dishes and cleaning the floor and dusting the carpet is what is shove pruta, and you still have that amount of, what do the Americans say? Time is money. That's a Mefurish pasuk. In Hebrew says money is money. Money is money. Time is money. Yeah. If so, that time of an hour is worth pruta. Is mekadesh her with what? Lasis pruta mekudeshes. The imlav ain't mekudeshes. If you don't have an hour worth of, or whichever time worth of pruta, and only then you are mekadesh her, miyad her, then you turned her avdus into kiddushin, then she's not mekudeshes. Alma kasova. We still didn't explain why. We didn't explain why. Now we're going to really get to the point. Alma kasova. That is to say, must be Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda must be holding of the following concept: Moisa rishonos lavli kiddushin nitnu. Oh, mazel tov. Which means we all know that the father received from the odoin when 6 years ago at the time of the sale. The tatele, the tate of the girl received from the odoin how much money? 6 million. I don't know how much money. However much money she's worth, right? And that money is at least pruta. Usually, would say more than pruta, right? Good, very nice. Now that money, how does that money exactly convert into later on into money of kiddushin? There are two ways to look at it. Way number one is the mainstream standard way, which is not Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. And what is that? Moiser Rishonos lekiddushin itnu. The first money that was originally given a few years ago, that money now is, as opposed to what I said, and here I was a little bit too extreme to the other side, was lemafrea. When the Odin decides and says, Harey At mikudeshes li, Harey At miyuedes li at any moment, that takes us back in time, and retroactively, lemafrea, we say that the money was given for kiddushin. That is not what Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda says. Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda comes to actually oppose that and say, no, she's not mekudeshes with the money that the father gave, that the Odin gave the father, excuse me. She's mekudeshes with the work that she has to do now for the Odin. It's relating more to her directly rather than to the father. In other words, you young girl, you owe me now 1 pruta worth of work. Yes. Yeah, you still have a whole hour of doing the dishes and doing the spanja, whatever, and changing the diapers. You have an hour of that worth pruta. Okay. With that, I'm keilu moichel dechoiv. I'm giving up, I'm giving in, I'm a vater on the debt you owe me, and with that I'm mekadesh you. By the way, it's not exactly mechilas choy, we'll discuss it later, but that's what it seems like at this point. The money she owes him, with that is mekadesh her. You can sit now like a queen, you don't have to work, and that hour of work that I'm giving, I'm giving you for your kiddushin. And that's why you need to have an hour, a time worth pruta. I'm reading now Rashi, the last Rashi inside. I'm seeing Rashi inside to correct my old mistake. I feel very guilty that I said the wrong thing a few days ago. Says Rashi, look at the last Rashi in the page. The ikibel av al menasli siad. If the father received the money in order to be miyad his daughter, the kiddushi yud tluin be'av. If the kiddushim of yud depend on the father, afal gav delekas shehus nami. Even if there isn't enough time in the day to do the work, she's still mekudeshes. Why? As long as at any given moment within the 6 years, the Odon said to the girl, she'll be miyud to me. Wow. So the yud does work according to the non-Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda. Let's just call it Rabbanon. According to Rabbanon, at the end of the 6th year, towards the end of the 6th year, or any given moment, yeah? Whenever you say she's miyuedes, whoop, we go back in time, and we say that really the money was, right from the start, was money of kiddushin, and it looks like she's mekudeshes already from then. My mistake had its reasons. You know, I made a mistake, I admit, but there are mistakes and there are mistakes. When we were in yeshiva, we learned the sugi of Yud for a long time, and it's a very difficult sugi in Iyun. I'll tell you why. Because it's very easy to say, okay, I'm sorry. Really, once he gave her the money of Yud, right, the lemafrea, we really now discover retrospectively that all the way from the beginning, she was really his wife. It's very difficult for many reasons. First of all, you're not supposed to enslave your wife. Secondly, it's very, very difficult because we don't know who will be miyad her, the man or his son, right? The man or the son, we don't know. And if you say yesh breira, we paskin, yeah, yesh breira, goes all the way to the back, yeah. If you say now we know that she was mukadeshes, but we didn't know at the beginning who will be the chosan, him or one of his 10 children. And therefore, it's really, really difficult. The Achronim, they basically make pretzels, like, you know, they work hard to understand how this is both lemafrea and mikanu labo. It's some kind of very difficult formula, which all the Achronim are struggling with. That's why I kind of had it in my mind that it's not so simple to say that it's a lemafrea. They say something along the lines that kilo the Kiddushin a lemafrea, but she's not really his wife lemafrea. It's mafrea plus I don't know. I'm telling you that I didn't go into the Achronim this time because it's not an Iyun Shiur, but basically it's difficult. But from now on, excuse the pun, from now on, we'll just stay simple. According to Rabbi, listen to this because this is going to be the formula for the entire Shiur. According to Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, definitely the Kiddushin, when do they start? Mikanu la'abo. Imagine yourself in your mind's eye, Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda is an era going forwards. If he was Mekadesh the girl at any given moment within the 6 years, imagine yourself a scale of 6 years, okay? 6 years, a timeline of 6 years. Any given moment, he woke up in the morning with a good mood and decided she'll be his wife, and he said they're at Mukadeshes Li, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's Mikanu Lahabo. It's not working with the money of the father. He works with the work. You young lady, you owe me work of 1 pruta, of 1 year, 1 month, 1 hour. With this amount of work / money, I'm Mekadesh you from now on. We're not looking backwards. And the father is not involved. The father is not involved, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Almost not involved, as we're going to see soon. The Sheikh and Lefir Rabbanon, no. Lefir Rabbanon, once he wakes up in the morning and says, Harey At me you edes, the Yud works with the money that he originally gave the father. And that money that originally gave the father, now we discover Ki'ilu, we've now discovered that this money originally really was for Kiddushin. So, Begadol, it's lemafrea, with all the issues that there is, and that is how the way we see it. Now, give me 1 second to get to the 2 dots. That's how we view the Machloikis classically. However, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, voices his opinion within Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. He explains Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda differently, and we saw that before. Omar, afilu teim lekiddushin nitnu. Even if you say, according to Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, that the original money was given for Kiddushin, still we can say that you require a pruta. Hear what he's saying? He's saying Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda didn't invent this new idea. And Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda agrees that the original money of the father is really the money of Kiddushin. It's the father money given 6 years ago. Since the Torah said vehefdo, it means that the only time you can take the yield option, you can only do that when there's enough time to be poi to her, meaning only when she still has a shava pruta time worth ahead of her. Only then you can be Mekadesh her. But it doesn't mean that really she's Miskadesh herself and not the father. Really, is the same as Chachomim, same everything. Just magic Zeres HaKosuv, that you have to have enough time of Kiddushin, same time as Pidyon. Yeah, which means Shava Pruta time. Yes. Your question, please? Yeah. We're going to see now a few halachos that have to do with the Chiddush of Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. The 2 dots were in the 4th wide line. Omer Rov Omer of Nachman. Oh, this is okay. Omer Odom Labito Iktana. A man may tell his daughter who's underage, under Bas Mitzvah, Si v'kabli Kiddushayich. A man can tell his daughter, go out and receive your own Kiddushin. Let me explain what this is about. Let me give the intro and a bit of the Rishonim here. A man, usually a woman, has something called Yad L'Kiddushin. When a woman decides, I agree to be married to Shimon, it's because she decides her issues her wifehood, so to speak. This is very, very important. I'm telling you. So you said the know of Kiddushin. My wifehood now belongs to Shimon. I decide that to give him my hand, as they say, right? I'm giving him yad. I have my spiritual yad. My being a wife, being loyal, being dedicated as a wife is now to him. A ktana doesn't have that. Who owns the ktana's yad? Daddy, father, and tate, and padre. Yeah, he owns the yad of the ktana. Okay, so when you tell a father, when you want to be Mekadesh Ktana, who is, let's say, 11, you give it to the hand of the father. The father receives the money from the husband. The husband says, that's a classical way. Here in Mekadesh a big Chiddush, which we have to appreciate. Says the Gemara, a man can tell his daughter, the Ktana, you go out and you receive your own Kiddushin. What does that mean? Before we continue one step further, there's a machlokes rishonim how that works. Says the Rosh, something very big chidush. Says the Rosh, the father may just tell his daughter, "I'm relinquishing my rights. You have the right now to go. You're your own boss. You are now miskadesh to you're miskadesh. You miskadesh to whoever you want, anytime you want, to whoever you want. And I'm keilu removing my rights from you." The korban nistan of the Perush on the Rosh says that means that if she divorces after that, after kiddushin, then enochinami, then he cannot sell her anymore. It's Kilo, he died. It's Kilo, the father's not there, says Korban Nisano. Big Chiddush. The father's not, but that's a Chiddush. Now the Rosh continues and he asks, now it's all very nice that the father relinquished his rights, but she doesn't have a hand. Yeah, if I remove she has hefker, she has no yad. Says the Rosh, you know how it works? I saw the Rosh this morning. Says the Rosh, a cotton has the right to yidas acheres makno. If somebody else is makne, is giving something to a cotton, the cotton can be koine. A cotton cannot receive from hefker his own kinyan. But if I tell a 9-year-old, 11 years old boy or girl, I'm makne to you, I'm makne, I'm giving, I'm selling you or giving you something, they can be koine. For that, they have a yad. At the end, the Rosh says, you could also say works inside shlichus of the father, differently to this. And shlichus works by cotton if it's for the benefit of the cotton. That's how the Rosh is learning. So according to the Rosh, she works independently. The father says, you go out Mekabel Kiddushin. Ramban and others say no. It's not that liberal. Ramban says no. The father is in charge, but the father can say, listen, we had these cases before, if you remember, around Daf Zayin Ches, we said over there, a woman can tell a guy, you want me to be your wife? Great. I'm rich. You give me this gold ring? I love you. You know, I'll be miskadish to you. Give that golden ring to my friend who needs it more. Remember, we had this case. Or give that nice piece of steak. I'm vegetarian, sorry. Give that piece of steak to my dog, which I'm mechuyev to feed because he's my animal, right? No, that's case in the Gemara. I know I don't like dogs, yeah, but and then she's mekudeshes. Says the Ramban, loy gora. The father is in charge. Obazoi, the father can say the ktana shall receive it, you know, as the recipient, although I'm in charge, but the ktana is the one that really should actually get it, and I'm enjoying the fact that my little ktana, who needs food, who needs money, she'll receive it from you, but the father is still in the picture. Shaken, according to the Rosh, the father is much, much less in the picture. Let's follow the Rosh from now on, just to be Misuder. How do we know that such a Chiddush exists? We saw in the Torah, as Bitin Osati L'Ishazeh, the father is in charge. It's all very nice and sounds very nice. 2023, the girl can do whatever she wants. But give me a source for that. How do you know that? You know how we know that? That's our source. Why? Lav Omer B'Yosef Bar B'Yehuda Moisa Rishonis Lav LeKiddushin Itnu. Rabbi Yosef Bar B'Yehuda says that the original money given from who? From the Odoin to the hands of the father were not for Kiddushin. This is not Kiddushin money. The father is not involved. So how was she miskadesh? How did she become the lady of the master? How did Cinderella become all of a sudden a princess over here? What happened? Because she owes him an hour of spanja, an hour of cleaning, and an hour of washing the babies. And now he was mishayir an hour of that work and tells her, you are mekudeshes to me. How? By the work you're not doing to me. Now, is the father in agreement with that? Of course. When the father, she's not rebelling and nobody's doing anything behind the father's back. The father does know that when he sold her as an amo, then what? He obviously sold her with the option of what? Yud. So here too, when the father says to the girl, listen, I'm letting you, Mekadesh, whoever you want, is ki'ilu giving his consent that when Reuben or Shimon will give her money in half a year's time, it's under the auspices of the father. The father says, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Whatever they do is fine. I'm relinquishing my, that's it. You do. It's not so simple in the Rosh, though, if it's complete relinquishing the rights, like the Korban and Sanel, or the father is still involved and it's Shlichus. It's a Shaila in the Rosh. But definitely the father took, however you learn the Rosh, the father took a few steps back and said, lady, you are going to do that now. It's okay if you're miskadish with whichever guy, just like the father says over here, that if you'll miyad you directly between you and him, I'm okay with that. That's the idea in general of tivakabli kiddushai. Very, very nice, very good. Now another statement. Another statement of Rav Nachman. Amikadesh b'milve sheyesh al hamashkoin mikudeshes b'Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. A person, this is very interesting. A person, let me give you another introduction here. This is all, by the way, a lot of it is reviewing things we've seen a few weeks ago. I don't know if you remember. Tell me what you think about the following case. A man lent a woman money, okay? The guy lent a girl some money, I don't know, 500 shekels. She's supposed to give it to him tomorrow. Then he comes to visit her and he says, Harey At be 500 shekels that are there, you don't have to give it to me. 500 shekels stay with you. I mekadesh you with the 500 shekels in your wallet. And they'll stay by you. You don't have to give it back to me. What do you say, mekudeshes or not? According to Rav in Daf Vav Amud Beis, and later we're going to have this again. Did you receive what? No, the answer is no. No, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. Very nice. Rabbi Simkin hits again, strikes again. It's not his money. Milvalo need to know. Yeah, in other words, the 500 shekels that are in her pocket at any stage are really her 500 shekels. She's supposed to give him new money. He didn't give her anything new. However, Teretz, saving grace, if he told her Bahanoas Milva, let's say he told her Arat Mukudeshesli with the enjoyment, with the fun, with the relief of not having to pay, which is not worth 500, which is worth, let's say, 100 or 200. She would pay someone to convince him to get off the debt, yeah, to not charge her. With that money, that's something new because that's something which is a service. And it can be Mekadesh people with service like singing a song. That's another thing. But that just erasing a debt proper as it is not enough. That's a Kedama number one. Now, that's the only introduction we'll do now. Now, having said that, listen to what we say. I'm reading again. Amikadesh b'milve sheyesh aleha mashkoin mikudeshes. What does it mean? Let's say the girl owes him 500 shekels, and he told her, I'm sorry, I'm not giving 500 shekels to you. I don't trust you. That was before they got married. I don't trust, after they got married, he trusts her even less. I'm joking. Yeah, I give you 500 shekels. I'm asking for a pikodon. Give me your kosher phone. Yeah, I want you have a fancy kosher phone, 500 shekels. Yeah, and that's a pikodon. And now you know what he did? He was mekadesher with a mashkon. In other words, he didn't just erase the debt. He actually gave her the mashkon, and he said, and by that he erased the debt, but he's giving her the mashkon. That's the way he did it. He's giving her now the mashkon and says, Aret Mukudeshes Li, that does work. That does work. And you know what? That's not such a chiddush for us. Because we saw in Daf Ches Amud Beis, we saw that Rabbi Yitzchak says, and it appears a few places in Shas, also in Dov Metzia Pei Beis, Bal Choyv Koin Mashkoin, right? If I gave you money as a loan, and now I took, at the time, not of the time of Alvo, later on, when you already owed it to me, and it was payday, it was due date, and you didn't come up with the money, I grabbed within halachic, you can grab violently, within halachic parameters, I took your phone then the phone is mine. You want it back? Okay, we'll talk, but then the phone is mine. So now what are we really saying? We're saying now that the mashkoin that the guy gave back to the girl who owes the money, she's mekudeshes. I would say why? Because the mashkon belongs to him. Since you didn't pay on time, the mashkon now is mine. I'm mekadesh you, and I'm giving you the mashkon, which was yours and now is mine. Now, and how do we know that? From Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. Something here doesn't work, right? If you noticed, because all that we already knew. We knew that before this Gemara. All the information I told you now, we already knew from previous sugyas. Let's continue now. Now, from some reason, says the Gemara, we'll learn this based on Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. Let's see how we compare this case now. Again, what's the case? Let's not get confused now. Let's forget about all introductions. What was the case? A guy lent a girl, let's make it 5,000, a bit more interesting. 5,000 shekels she owes him, and she gave him her candlesticks. A nice fancy Shabbos candlesticks worth 5,000. Okay, nice. Now the candlesticks, he gave her the candlesticks, and it says Haret Mukudeshesly with those candlesticks, Mukudeshes. Because the candlesticks belong to him now. He's giving it to her. So he's not stam erasing something that she doesn't have to pay. He's giving her something new. The candlesticks that used to be hers, now they're viewed as his, and he's giving her the sticks. Okay, so she's Mekudeshes. Now we're going to compare that case to Rabbi Yossi Omer Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Let's see. Lav Omer Rabbi Yossi Bar Rabbi Yehuda. Didn't Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda say, Mois harishoinois lav likidushin nitnu? Rabbi Yossi Bar Rabbi Yehuda, what did he say? Time and again. The first money given from the Odom to the father was not money of Kiddushin. The father and all the incident of her sale is out of the picture. So, hi, halvahi. Why is it halva? When the Odom gave him I'd like to say in big red letters, prepayment. P-R-E, big red letters. What's prepayment? Halva. We saw it also in Ribis. Yeah, I prepaid Tzvi 13,000 shekels for the motorcycle. Yeah. Now it's like halva. You owe me the motorcycle, right? Because I prepaid you, or you owe me the 13,000 back. One of the two. So you're not so happy about it. Yes, no, fine, no. I don't have a motorcycle license, I promise. Yeah, I'm not even jealous. Yeah. So now, the 13,000 I gave Tzvi for the cycle, then what? Now there is a debt. So prepayment is like a debt. The Odoin gave the father how much? 6 million shekels. Now she's paying a debt. She's paying off a debt by every time she does the dishes and she washes the floor and she cleans the garden. Then what? She rakes the leaves. What is it? Paying a debt in an ongoing way. Okay, fine. So far, so good. The he gufa mashkoin he, and she herself is a mashkoin. She's in the house of the master. She is a collateral. She's like a collateral. Her own body is like a collateral by him. Oh, very good. And what happens when you do yud? The chi mishar b'shel v'pruta. When you are Mishash Pruta Miyad, have a Kiddushin. What did he do when he actually was Miyad her? He gave her back to herself. So he gave her a mashcoin back to herself. Up until now, you know why you have to do the dishes and clean the floor and do whatever I want, within reason, whatever I want? Yeah. Why? You're subjugated, Meshubet as a mashcoin. You're a live mashcoin. You're living mashcoin. When I tell you, sit on the couch, sit and relax, sit and read a book, and you're my wife, that is to say, I gave you back yourself. I gave you back the mashcoin for the money that you now owe me. I gave you back the mashcoin. That is to, and she's mekudeshes. Achanami lo ishno. Same thing over here. Toises and all the Rishonim ask the question. I gave you an introduction. We don't need Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. We know that already. We know that from Rabbi Yitzchak, right? We said Rabbi Yitzchak says if you mekadesh a lady with a mashkon, she's mekudeshes. Why? Because the Baal Chov kon a mashkon. Why do you need Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda? Yeah, there are a lot of Rishonim. I did something very uncharacteristic for myself. I did something very out of character, and I looked in the Ritva. And the Ritva, and the Ritva says as follows. The Ritva says like this. It's also again Perek Sheni. I'm not going there, but sometimes Kiddushin can be confusing. What do you mean? The Kiddushin can be confusing. Let's say a man is Mekadesh a woman. We have such a case in Perek Sheni in 3 different places. There is a debt that he forgives her, and he also gives her something very similar to here. If you notice, I was saying 2 things. Yeah, when he now did yud, what did he do? He gave her back her own body. Oh, she's relaxing, no sponja, no changing the diapers anymore. She received the mashkon her body herself, and also he erased the debt. He also erased the debt, right? He didn't say that's not, by the way, automatically the same, right? I could return someone's mashkon. Hey, I'm returning your candlesticks only if you give me back the 5,000. No, he's so nice. He's doing 2 things. He's erasing the debt, and he's also giving back the mashkon. Now you'll appreciate my introduction. What this guy does, he does one right thing and one wrong thing. Erasing the debt is not a way to be mekadesh, right? True, it's not, because he's not giving anything new. Giving the mashkon is something. The question is, what is her das? When she hears I'm Messiah to the Odoin, she may mistakenly think, you know why I'm now his wife? Because he gave up on the choiv. Because now my father and I don't owe him money anymore. And that's wrong. It's not what she's miskadish. She's supposed to have in mind, I'm miskadish because I received my own body back to myself. I don't have to be enslaved to him anymore. And now that's the chiddush. We assume that she has the right thing in her mind, that she wants to be miskadish in the right way through receiving the mashkoin and not through erasing the choiv. I hope it wasn't too be'iyun. Anybody wants, we'll go back there at 10:25. I think now we'll continue. Tono abonon. Ketzad mitzvah yud. How is yud actually done? Yud in 4 easy steps. Amar lo bifnei shnaim. He has to tell in front of 2 edim. Harey At says the bach miyuedesli, aret mukudeshesli, aret muresesli. In other words, as we said, yud is only a rusin. Afilu besoif shesh, even towards the end of the 6 years. Va'afilu somuch l'shkia sachama. Yeah, this is according to Tanakama. Even if it's like 5 minutes before shkia of the very, very end of the term, no problem. According to Tanakama, she's not miskadesh with the upcoming hour of the upcoming work. So she's miskadesh with the old money. No problem. So she can become miyuedes literally a minute before shkia. She becomes turning from a shifcha to a wife. There's no new money given. True, there is no new money. When was the money given? At the beginning. This is Chachomim, not Rabbi Yisrael bar Yehuda. This is Rabbanon. The money given at the very beginning, that's the money, that is the Yud. V'noyeg b'minag ishus, v'eno noyeg b'minag shifchus. Rabbi Simkin, here's your answer. Whatever the difference is, I'd like to think that people don't treat the wives as shifchos, obviously. So he's misnag with her the shifcha, as much as she has good conditions. Yeah, up until now she was a maid with good conditions. Now she's a wife. There are differences, yeah. And now, from now on, you stop treating her as a shifcha. You treat her as a wife because now she became your wife, although it's retroactive. Again, we see this conundrum all the time. Yeah, by the way, the Rishonim asked, why do the Edim have to be now? The Edim had to be at the times of the giving of the money, if you believe so much in Lemafreya. We see that Sama, according to Rabbanan, he works Lemafreya and also now. You need 2 points in history, in the timeline, to make you at work. The beginning of the giving of the money at the beginning, and the saying Aret Mukudeshesli now. It's actually a good trick question. You can ask it to your wife now, the supper table. Usually a choson, what does he do simultaneously? Aret Mukudeshesli b'tabad zu, boom, he gives a ring. Here we have a case, 5.5 years difference between the giving of the money and saying Aret Mukudeshesli. He gave the money to the other and to the father 5.5 years ago, or 5.99 years ago, and saying Aret Mukudeshesli only now. Right? So the giving of the money worked then, and Sama is affecting her now. Lemafreya for now. That's the Nakama. Yes? Mm-hmm. Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda says, "Im yesh shehus bayom kedei lasos imo shove peruta." You can't be mekadosh last second. No. Only if at the time of Yud there is still enough time for her to do work for him, and that work is worth pruta, is something you'd pay a maid pruta mekudeshes. V'imlav eina mekudeshes. If not, she's not mekudeshes. If it's too late, in other words, if he decided that when miyuedesli, let's say half an hour before Shkia, and half an hour is, let's say, less than Shava Pruta, no. Because what does Rabbi Yehuda believe? That the first money has nothing to do with it. The daddy is out of the picture. Bye, daddy. Who is now Mekadosh who? He's Mekadosh the girl with her work that he's moichel her, right? And that is considered as what? As work, and that is like giving back mashkoin, is giving back herself to herself. It's like Mekadosh b'mashkoin. Now we understand that. And then it works very nicely. Now, according to Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda, when did the marriage begin? Very clearly, only at the time of Yud. Nothing to the attractive, no lemafreya. According to Rabbanon, there is, I like what Parrot says, there's a strong lemafreya factor. According to Rabbanon, right, once Yud was done, we retroactively know that something already started at the beginning of the 6 years. Now we say moshel. We're going to compare it now. And according to Rashi, this moshel means a halacha that's derived from what we just said. Rashi, from some reason, doesn't want to say it's a regular moshel. It's a halacha that we learn from what we just said. Let's see what we say. Moshel lo'emer le'isha. A man tells a woman, listen to this. Is kad shili me'achshav le'achar shloshim yoim. Oh, in other words, a man said like this. I'm not sure I want to marry you for now. Be miskadish to me now, and after 30 days from now. Again, 2 points in history. What does it mean? It means that he says, if in 30 days I'll be alive, in spite of the war, you'll be alive and will still be interested. Yeah, if in 30 days all goes well, then retroactively our marriage will apply already from today. Yeah, let's say today is the first day of Hanukkah. If by Chaf Hei Teves, my birthday, then all of us will be around, all will be nice, many happy returns, yeah? Then retroactively from the first day of Hanukkah, which is now, the marriage would start. That's what he wants to play. That's a game he wants to play. Which, so what do you say? Oh, another guy came between Chafei Kislev and Chafei Teves. Mr. Other guy came and gave her Kiddushin. Would that work? Well, no. If 30 days arrived, then what? They reached the 30th day. Retroactively, she was Mekudeshes to Reuven. She Mekudeshes Larishon. She's Mekudesh to the first guy. Yeah. The second guy is really pending. The second guy is holding his breath, right? If the first guy will survive when until 30 days from the original giving of the money, then retroactively, the first guy Reuven gave her at the first point, and therefore the second guy came too late. So she's mekudesh to the first guy. She's not mekudesh to the second guy. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Then what?
End of the game.
Why?
So the first one, it's Kafala.
No, that's not true. Because at the 30th day. No, she's not. She's Sophic. No, not true. Sophic. Because what? Because maybe the 30 days won't arrive. But they both decided, the Chosn and the Kala, that if they both be alive at the 30th day, then the Kiddushin will apply right from now, from the beginning.
Right, on the day of that,
no.
She's the
what she's not true. She was not Mekadesh. The Kiddushin never chapped. Now we know, 15 days from now we know that she was really Bechlal Mekudesh already. So Kiddushin can't apply to an Eshesish. You can't be Mekadesh in Eshesish. It's not a non-moral thing to do. It just doesn't apply. It's just marrying another cat. She's a Sophic and it will be Misbar. It was Misbar after 15 days from then that she was an Eshesish right from 30 days ago. Absolutely. Sorry, that's quite simple. Mashal Leman. The Gemara says, who are you comparing it to? We saw two opinions, right? Again, Tanakama believes in the Mafreya. Rabbi Yehuda believes in Mekanu Labo. Who do you compare the case of the 30 days Lemafreya to? If you want to compare to Rabbi Yehuda, that's not true. Rabbi Yehuda was always looking forwards. He said, if there is still enough time, meaning enough money to be Mekadesh her, then she's Mekudeshes facing forwards. That from now on, Bim Lav Loy, if not. Meaning Rabbi Yehuda ignored the Lemafreya business. Not that we know that he doesn't believe in it in other cases. The case of Yud of Rabbi Yehuda does not at all work, not Lemafreya, not retrospectively, not shmispaectively, nothing. Elamai must be Omar Vacha Breiderove, Moshel Rabbanon. Obviously, it's Rabbanon, meaning what? Rabbanon are the ones who believe that Yud works Lemafreya, one way or another, parrots. He works Lemafreya somehow, and here too, he works Lemafreya. Yeah, he works Lemafreya, and we say that once 30 days came, and Reuven is around, and she's around, they've decided at that happy moment, her Kiddushin will apply from 30 days ago. So now we know that what Shimon did is useless. What Shimon did is like nothing. Is void. Says the Gemara Pshita. It's what's a chiddush? What's a chiddush? He's saying the same thing twice. Here you call it Yud, and here you call it marriage Lemafreya. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. Why do you have to give me more examples? This is Gemara. This is not a Chas Shalom in a newspaper. And says the Gemara, Ma'od Tema, one would have said, in the case of Yud, Halo Amar Le Me'achshov. Oh, in the case of Yud, mind you, yeah, the father and the Odo and the master, when they were discussing things, they didn't say Me'achshov. He said, I'm selling you my daughter. Here's the money. Very nice. Look after her. I'm going to come and inspect on you, and everything is good. She's a good girl for 6 years. Make sure she washes the floor nicely. They didn't speak about Yud. The Torah talks about Yud, but the word Me'achshav wasn't actually mentioned at all, right? So it's not exactly like the case that we have here. Here he said Me'achshav, right? Ula'achar shloshim yom. And therefore, yeah, I would have said, yeah, it didn't say me'achshav. I want to just show you what Rashi says. Look at Rashi. One could argue and say, "Dafilu loy pirish me'achshav." Oh, I'm scared of Tvi now. Oh. One would have said like this: in Yud, what's the story? We say, here is the money. Nobody spoke about me'achshav. 5.5 years later, she became his wife, and we say he works retroactively, even though they didn't say the word me'achshav. So maybe, let's say Reuven tells Rachel, Aret mukudeshes li, and I'll explain to you why. Aret mukudeshes li, lachar shloshim yoim. Maybe even without saying the word me'achshav, already works retroactively. Why? The mere fact I'm giving you the money now on Chanukah Chaf Hei Kislev means that something's supposed to happen now. So even though I told her, listen, Aret mukudeshes li, I'm giving you the money, and I want the Kiddushin to apply 30 days from now. Maybe because I'm giving it now, even though I didn't say the word me'achshav, still, once 30 days came, she retroactively is mukudeshes to the first guy, not to the second, without saying me'achshav, because in Yud, you didn't say achshav. Kamash malan, no. Kamash malan, we don't say that. Meaning, only if he said the word, I want the Kiddushin to start now, and from 30 days. I'm not crazy. I'm telling you, if in 30 days from now all be well, I'll be well, and you'll be well, and all will be good, then I'm telling you, me'achshav the Kiddushin would apply. In the case of Yud, why doesn't he have to say me'achshav? Because the Torah said that. Rashi says later on in a different case, when the Torah tells me a man gave money to the Odon, the Odon gave money to the father, the Odon gave money to the father, the Torah Kilu said me'achshav. The Torah put the words without us having to mention the words, right? But if between people that make their own conditions, only if he said me'achshav ulachar shloshim, then we say what happens at the end of shloshim, opa, goes back me'achshav, only if the word me'achshav from now was mentioned. That's brisa number one. Tanya Idach, another brisa. This is now getting really interesting. Tanya Idach, I had to look up the Rambam here. Very interesting case. Amoicher es bitoy, a person sold his daughter. The holach the kid sholacher, double story. He sold his daughter to Reuven and then was Mekadesh her to Shimon. Yeah. Okay. Sold her to Reuven, Mekadesh to Shimon. That is doable. Yeah. But excuse me, she's already sold to the first guy. How can she be Mekudesh to the second guy? So first of all, says Tzvi, obvious. I wish it was so obvious. Says the Gemara, okay. Sichik ba'adoin u'mekudeshes l'sheni. He made fun of the Odoin. He tricked the Odoin. And she's mekudesh to the second guy, Divrei Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda, which means Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda says like this: because Yud of the Odoin would only apply at the end, not retroactively, right? Therefore, when he married her off the second guy, the marriage of the second guy applied before the Yud of the Odoin. Now, says the Rambam, she's not mekudeshes to the guy. She's not mekudeshes to the husband because she still works under the first guy. At the end of the 6 years, then her Kiddushin will apply. That's a side point. But the main point we have to know now is like this. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, Yud only begins at the end, starts at the end, it's only at the end. If there was any Kiddushin happening before the Yud, Mimele Yud doesn't apply. She's already mekudeshes to the first guy and not to the other, as you say, but according to Chachomim, absolutely not. Right? According to, before we read the Gemara, I want you to understand it without the Gemara. According to Chachomim, obviously not. Why? Because Yud means that when I sold my daughter to the first guy, I already embedded options of Yud. So now when I was Mekadesh her to the second guy, it's a big question mark. If the Odin decides to be Miyad, then again we know that Lemafrea all the way to 6 years ago, she was already Mekudeshes to the Odin. So the Kiddushin of the second guy never applied, never started. The same as before. You may have the same problem. Say, what can I do? But Zicher. The Chachomim Oimrim, Im Rotza Leyad, Meyad. The second guy, maybe not the second, the Odin may be Meyad. Obviously. Yeah? Because when I bought your daughter from you, I don't care if she's miskadeshes to another guy. If I decided to be Meyad, then I'm the miyad, and then we know that even before you even thought about her, I was potentially her husband, and once I gave her the money, I was really her husband all these 6 years. Yeah, with all the difficulties we have with that. So the second guy, nothing applied, nothing happened. Moshe Loimer, what is that compared to? That's compared to Loimer Leisha, Haret Mukudeshesli Leachel Shloshim Yoim. Oh, let's say a man said without the magic word Lachshov. A person says, ever played a video on YouTube? Yeah, I want to pause and play it in 30 minutes, let's say. Yeah. So what did he do? Aret Mukudeshesli when starting after 30 days, not before. I want the Kiddushin to be frozen on hold, yeah, and only to begin in 30 days and not lemafrea, not retroactively. Another guy came within 30 days. Now you're right, Tzvi. She's mukudeshes to the second guy. Why? Because the Kiddushin of the first guy never really started. He postponed them to after 30 days. So if before the 30 days arrived and it's not retroactive, then the second guy came before you. See, Kilu, it's Kiddushin. Says the Gemara, Moshe Laman, exactly who do you compare it to? If you want to tell me you compare it to Rabbanon, then it's not true. Rabbanon in the case of Yud, again, this case we have now is a case of not Mafriya, is the case of Mikanu Lehabo, from now on, not retroactively. So to compare it to Rabbanon, that's downright wrong. Amri Rabbanon, Imrotzel Li'ayid Meyayid. Rabbanon say that Yud works what? Retroactively. Is Meyayid, if Yud took place, Yud really works all the way to the beginning of the giving of the money given to the father, and then anything that happened in between is invalid. You can't be Mekadesh and Eshes Ish. So obviously Rabbanan are not comparing it to this case, which is Mekanu La'abo. Ela Omar Vacha Be'ederove, Moshe Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. Obviously it's compared to Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. Why? Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda viewed Yud as not Mafreya, but Mekanu La'abo, from the moment of Yud onwards. So to over here, the first guy who came and was Mekadesher, was Mekadesher only to begin in 30 days. Just like over here, when the father received the money, he knows she may become Miyu Edis, but he would only start, only begin some point later, not retroactively. So very good, it works very well. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. Faik the Gemara again, Pshita. What's a Chiddush? Same thing. Here you call it Yud, here you call it Stam Kiddushin. Both cases, I gave money now. I want the whole thing to, I'm freezing it in time, interested in it only starting either after 30 days or starting whenever the guy wants to be miyad. Only then it will start. And if anything happens in between, yes, she's still absolutely vulnerable to receiving Kiddushin, susceptible to Kiddushin from anybody in the world. So he's saying the same thing twice. What are you mechadish? Well, what's a chiddush? I know already, Rabbi Yehuda. What are you giving me another case for? Answers the Gemara, yes, there is a chiddush. Ma'od detema, I would have thought, Haloi omar lo le'achar shloshim yoim. Oh, in the case of Yud, he did not tell her le'achar shloshim yoim. In the case of Yud, says here I use Tosfos actually more than Rashi. Rashi is a bit difficult. In the case of Yud, in other words, in the case of Kiddushin, the men gave a clear space. Listen, darling Kala, dear Kala, I'm not sure about it. I'm giving you the money now. I happen to have a ring now. I don't know what's going to happen later. I'm going to war, Gaza. I'm giving you the ring now, and I want to freeze it completely for 30 days. 30 days from now, the Kiddushin will start then, only then, and nothing but then, not retroactively. But he gave her a clear time frame where he's not her husband and cannot be her husband unless he makes a whole new Maisa, right? And therefore, those 30 days are clearly, so to speak, vacant and empty. But for any other man in the world, he went to war. She found another guy in the university. Yeah, so now another guy can come in. That's clear. That's not a chiddush. Masha'en can, yeah, in the case of Yud, I would have said no. In the case of Yud, once the father sold her to the guy, when can he be miyad her? We keep talking, is miyad at the end? He can miyad her 5 minutes after she arrived home. He sees that she does the dishes so well. Wow, changes the diaper like magic. In 5 minutes, he fell in love with her. Because the husband can be miyad any given second, right? The Odin may thank you for the correction. I stand corrected. Because the Odin can become a husband very quickly, any given second, one would say, that's not such a shiur in the Kiddushin. Maybe other people cannot come before, Because when I'm selling my daughter as an ama, I'm also ki'ilu mekadesher already now. Although it's not kiddushin, but the potential is there right away. A second after the mechira, she can become his wife. So maybe if other people come, they cannot be mekadesher because maybe she is already half mekudeshes because it's up to the other already. Kamash malan that we don't say that. Kamash malan we compare the cases and both Yud and both Shloshim Yom Mefurash say no. Since at the end of the day, right now there's no Kiddushin. Kiddushin may start later. Either the later is a clear time, 30 days, Chafei Tevis, or later is whenever the Odin wants. It's the same thing. And any other man can chap in the middle, chap a Ryan, and take her and be Mekadesher before the Odin does the job. Yes, sir. The Peretz, I think, is now. And oh, okay. We don't have much arms. Weiter. One more. Tanya Idach, another brisa. We have to go a little bit further. Amoicheres bito. This has to do with an email that I received yesterday from Tzvi, and soon we'll see the answer. Amoicheres bito uposak al mnas shelo yad. The audience says, Mister, hands off, Mister. I'm selling you my daughter with condition you will not be miyad. I don't want this yud business. I hope she comes back home. No, Yud. You're not gonna be her husband, Mister. I moicher you, her to you, on condition not to have Yud. Says Tanakama, Rabbi Meir, Niskayim Atnai, Diva Rabbi Meir. Says Rabbi Meir, yes, no problem. She can become his Amma, his worker, his maidservant, without being his wife, not even potential wife. Nah, v'chachomim oimrim, imrotza liyad meyad. The Odin may be meyad any given second without asking the father. You're not allowed to create conditions against the Torah. That's what I thought of telling you, and I didn't. In other words, when a person plays, if a person does something in action and creates a t'nai, and the t'nai is against what it says in the Torah, the Maisa exists, and the t'nai is botel, as we're going to see soon in Kiddushin. So the girl definitely is sold, she's an Amma, and yet the father's conditions, I make a condition that Yud would not apply. We only listen to one sentence of the father, not to the other. Sold, she's sold. But the condition to say she may not be your maidservant, you can't do that. I'm making a condition. I'm Jewish, but I want to eat chazer. I don't know. They told me I never tasted, but maybe it's nice. I don't know. So you can't make conditions against the Torah, right? We're going to explain also why the mice is kaim, but not the t'nai. That's the opinion of Chachomim. Well, Rabbi Meir says, no problem. Rabbi Meir says, do whatever you want. Yes. Says Rabbi Meir, what's the problem? Yes. You can sell her as a girl, and you have the right to create a t'nai, seemingly against the Torah. Says Rabbi Meir, yes, she'll be sold, and he has no rights to be either. I can modulate and play around with the rules of the Torah. Ki'ilu, according to Rabbi Meir, she'll be a maidservant, and she'll not be misyad ever. And even if he does Yud, the Yud won't apply. Back the Gemara, Rabbi Meir, excuse me. Rabbi Meir t'noi kayim, is that so? Is it true that according to Rabbi Meir, the t'nai against the Torah actually applies? That Tanya, we saw it in Bava Metzia a few places in Daf Tzadi Daled right? Yeah, Tzadi Daled the Mudalef. Yeah. A man tells a woman under the chuppah when he gives her kiddushin, Harey At mekudeshes, okay, al menas she'en lecha alai she'er ksus ve'oino, making a condition, I owe you nothing against the Torah. I'm going to be a good husband, but I won't give you food, I won't give you clothes, and I won't be intimate with you. I'm a Nazir, Porush. I'm going to learn night and day. Yeah, and that's condition. Take me or leave me. And she said, yeah, I still love him. Good. She wants. Says Rabbi Meir, the Kiddushin apply. His condition is null. His condition is cancelled. Why? Rabbi Meir says you can't make a condition against the Torah. The Torah says that the husband is mechuyev to give his wife she'er ksus ve'oino. Don't be smarter than the Torah, mister. And therefore, if you're mekudesh, even if you both agree, who cares? You're talking against the Torah. And therefore, you'll be her husband, and you will jolly well give her she'er ksus and oino, says Rabbi Meir. So, open contradiction of Rabbi Meir. You see that? Here, Rabbi Meir said, yeah, I can play with the rules of the Torah. I can make my own conditions. The Torah allows me. I'll sell my daughter, but without Yud. And there we say, no, your husband, you have to keep the laws of the Torah down to the T without conditions. Rabbi Yehuda over there in Kiddushin says, we'll finish here, Rabbi Yehuda says that she'er v'ksus monetary rights are the rights that she deserves, If she says, I can live with him without money and without clothes and without receiving clothes from him, without receiving food from him, that's fine. But oina, she cannot be moichel. Because oina is a tsara guf, a woman who doesn't have oina, her body is suffering. Mimela, that kind of condition she cannot have. She cannot say it's okay. We can't go against the Torah dover shebaguf. You can go against the Torah betnoim, but something which is monetary. Because as we said about 5 million times in this year, monetary laws are flexible in the Torah. Nobody goes against the Torah chas v'shalom here. But Rabbi Yehuda says, listen, if you owe me $1,000,000 and I say take them to yourself, why not? Money, zuz, moves, it's my rights and my duties, up to me. If the woman says, I have enough money, I have enough food, I have enough this, who needs it? So she gave her up her rights to receive money. Oina is something you can't give up because oina is something not in the money, in the goof. And it's part of the actual marriage that her goof will be in the henna. And if it's not, the Torah says you have to have this or no. And Mimela, you can't give up on that. We are now in a question and we have to go. The questions on Rabbi Meir. Over here, Rabbi Meir says you can be matnal mashkosu b'Torah, and by Kiddushin it says you cannot make conditions of mashkosu b'Torah. Da 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 da. We're left in real, yeah, cliffhanger, suspension, and now we are going home. Actually, I'm not. Hatzlacha bracha. Thank you to everybody here in Abbas Shalom, Torah Anytime YouTube channel, and may this war be end very, very soon. Mashiach should come. Hatzlacha bracha.